When I started to put together some memories of Able Flight during my time on the island, I got in contact with some guys on the internet who had been stationed there then and asked them to share some of their memories. Ron Nelson was one who responded. He was one of the many X2s on Able. There were so many X2s that they were all over the place, mostly working the Automorcile, DF console, and RT. He specifically recalls working with loyal Dean Dotson in the auto aisle. Ron also remembers Sergeant Jackson, who was an X1, and the time Jackson walked up to him while adjusting himself. Ron told him he would cut it off if he got any closer. Needless to say, after that, they weren't on very good terms. Those of you who were unable at this time probably will recall Sergeant Frankenstein, who was very difficult to please. Nelson remembers the time when he was working in the DF shack and Frankenstein requested a shot. Although Nelson was correct on the shot, Frankenstein didn't like the result and was not happy. He went out to the DF shack not bothering to declare himself. And you all remember what security was like. Frankenstein was greeted with an M1, cocked and loaded, and pointed at his head. Although the DF was correct, Frankenstein never let Nelson work the shack again. The only repercussions about that incident was all of the X1s later telling Ron that he should have pulled the trigger when he had the opportunity. Ron also remembers when Sam Sanborn was pulling outside guard duty. Sanborn saw a Greek going up the steps to the pound. He cocked and loaded on him. Needless to say, Sam didn't pull any more guard duty after that. The word Jeep, when referring to a fellow GI, meant someone who had arrived on the island after you. So there were a lot of Jeep jokes and pranks. For example, Nelson remembers when a friend of his was told to get a bucket of DF bearings, and he got right to it. After an hour or so, someone asked Nelson where his roommate was. Ron said that he was getting a bucket of bearings and suggested if they checked his room, he was probably looking for them. This friend had never had sex until he met Crazy Mary and Rita. He quickly became good buddies with them. He even gave them loans when they needed some cash. It wasn't as though he was a mad dog about it. He was just their friend.